As a seller, you need to know who are the people investing in what you have. So let's learn a little bit about the buyer personality profile. And this helps me to help you configure your house accordingly, right? So sometimes you might have buyers who are looking for the house that is home, that has a garden, that has a yard. And sometimes people look at properties online, they see the pictures, yeah, I want to see that house. It's usually my job to discern what is it that you're really looking for. Because they see a cute house, but then you hear, yeah, I got 17 dogs, and I just want a little place to put them. I see a little grass in the back. Ma'am, it's only 4,000 square feet. Your kennels can't fit there. Right? So buyers are looking for different things. Some of them like to profile. Those ones like the high-end, upper middle class neighborhoods, the so-called bougier neighborhoods. Even if their money is looking funny, they are looking for properties like that. Right? There's some people like me, I'm in this category. I just need a house where I can lime. Can we fit 10 friends over? Is there a porch? Can I put the little awning over the... That's me, very simple. And then there are the breeders. The breeders will look at your house, that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house because it's 200,000 and say it's perfect. But I can sense that you're already at child number 3. This 2-bedroom house can't even expand. Are you sure this is what? Yeah, but the price is good, and it close to my mother, you sure? There's some, especially the returning nationals, they like to be close to all the amenities. They need to get to Browns Beach at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, all and sundry, we just like to socialize. So these are the types of buyers coming to you. And you need to know this because when you put a house on the market, it's not just these 4 walls, but you're literally catering to a buyer personality. What do they want from me now? As a seller, what do they want from me? Are you ready? This pertains to you. And you need to know this because once again, people say, bam, my house is on the market. Even if you don't fix it up, because sometimes you can sell as is. Based on what your house looks like, I always try to look out for my sellers. I don't want you spending excess money, right? So I will come and look and see, can we just sell it as is? And let me explain why. Once again, we are not the North American system. So the North American system has a very structured way of valuing your property. So if you go and fix up the kitchen, that's about 15 grand more. If you go and fix up the bathrooms, 9 grand more. Then we have the Barbados. The Barbados, you go and you add your gold faucets. But you're in the Orleans. The gold faucets are not going to get you any more than that market is willing to bear. Right? So it doesn't make any sense. And sometimes too, we do a lot of expenditure on things that we think will add value, but they add value to you. I am not interested in your purple, mosaic countertop tiles. So that's another thing. Even if you do enhancements, keep it very neutral. But be warned, you might go and enhance. Yeah, Cherie, I gotta fix it. A lady told me that, and I told her don't do it, and she's still doing it right now. I gotta fix it in the toilet, man. I gotta fix it in the toilet, because and I know in my gut that it is not gonna get her much higher on the market. This is what you need to understand. In a market, I am not going to sacrifice any more than I am willing to sacrifice for what you have. So you could think that your house is $1 million, but I have $700,000 in my pocket. And I'm not moving past $700,000. And that is the reality. So you may think your house is worth $450,000, and guess what? You might hit it on the mark. There's a pool of people for that. So always remember, that's important. Great location, good ventilation, natural lighting, open floor plan, spacious kitchen, multiple bathrooms and outdoor space. But Sharita, my house is around from 1990. It has 1 bathroom. That's okay. Make it look cute. Make it look nice. But Sharita, I live in Tweeside Road. Is that a great location? Yes. For someone who thinks it's a great location, who wants to walk to town, so don't ever trick yourself that. Sadly, in Barbados, we do a lot of, we're a very classist society, right? So we have in our minds that Fort George is this, and the Ivy is this. And my grandmother grew up in the Ivy, lived in the Ivy till she died at 95 years old. Happiest woman in the world, always tinkering with the house. To her, it was a great location. So always remember, don't ever crucify where your house is thinking, it's not the perfect location. You just need one buyer, right? It's the perfect location for somebody. Good ventilation, superly important. Please, for the love of God, when I come to show your house for sale, can we open some windows, please? I don't know what it is with Bajans, but we have this thing, but the privacy and don't open the windows so wide. Can we just open the windows, please? Just let the air in. I don't ask for much in life. Natural lighting. If I go into your house during the day and I have to turn on lights, we have a problem. Right? So, as regards that, you gotta think, simple things, are my curtains too dark? Do I need a bigger window? Am I blocking out the window with a tree? Stuff like that. Make it bright. Open floor plan. We know this. Not every house has an open floor plan, but what does that signify to you? Don't let me come to your property and feel as if I am in Hoarderville or in a clutter fest, just wiggling through stuff. Even if you don't have an open floor plan, let's make it feel open. Shove the things in the cupboard, please. Right? Because remember, when people come to your home, they have to see themselves living there. And they can't see themselves if you're all over it. Spacious kitchen, once again. I have shown houses. I usually announce my coming days in advance. Why are there still wares in the sink? Why? Why are the counters full of stuff? I always tell people a house does not have to be museum clean, but pretend that I'm important and do saying. Multiple bathrooms. If you do have 1.5 bathrooms, that's a plus. People buying nowadays, let's be honest, you have more family members in and out, you have people visiting, they like the idea of having an extra bathroom or at least an extra powder room. Outdoor space, that's what people want. There's spaces that you have covered with old tires and junk and the pile that we put out every Christmas. Just clean it away. Even if it's not big, people still like the concept of space. Storage. Storage is important. A lot of the houses pre-1999 have no storage. They only have a linen closet. People want storerooms. People want areas that they can put stuff. Let's be honest, we're consumers and we're getting more and more stuff. Minimal renovation. So I always tell people this. If you want to spend any money on your house at all, repair things that will be an issue. For example, if I see, I don't know, that there's a crack around the thing, fix the crack. If your patio has the steel jutting out, fix that. But don't go and do anything overly extensive. Keep it simple. Neutral palette. So if your house is looking like this is cute to me, but this may not be cute to somebody else. Neutralize it. Get your creams, your whites, that type of thing if you know you're about to sell a property, and do a paint job. That's one place you should spend money if you're going to spend money, right? Now these things here are very important. If there is any area in which you spend money, I want it to be these 4 areas. So I always watch people when they come into a house. No matter how cute your house is, men look at the superstructure. The superstructure is the walls, the floors, the roof, the ceiling. That's how men buy. Women be looking at, the accent wall, that's lovely, and the curtains, right? That's how we buy, different tastes. But you see these things here, all in common. Let a man see a little brown stain, it's over for me. It's over. I already know it's over. I stand up in the corner and I wait. So what's going on with the leak up there? So that's the information I usually try to figure out beforehand. Usually they might tell me the leak was already repaired. Okay, can we change out the tile and paint the tile, please? Can we make it disappear? And not disappear in a don't fix it way, but fix it and make it not even be known that it was there in the first place, right? No termite damage, same thing. Don't leave even though whoever came and sprayed, do not leave the trail. Paint it. Because you're then starting questions in the buyer's mind as in, okay, how far has this termite damage reached? Structural issues. Those are the hardest ones to fix. I have gone into a house, the one that you showed happily many times in Christchurch. in which the floor literally, the whole front of the house has issues. After a while, we were like, okay, we're done. We don't feel comfortable even trying to sell that because the amount of work to go into that is going to be so extensive. Electrical drama, this is not, let me put it this way. If you know that you have to rewire a house, depending on the size of the house, you're talking thousands, right? Some people are willing to cope with that, but some people would just like to walk into a house where it's sorted. So these are the four major issues that buyers tend to come looking for. So that means if you're selling your property, try to make sure that you have those areas covered. Now I'm going to run through this real quickly. This is this is what keeps my life as a realtor animated, unpredictable, very interesting. Every house tells a story. And my job too, when I'm selling someone's house, is to kind of neutralize that story. You understand? Whether I like it or not, every house has a story. I'm going to start off with this. Luckily, this was not in Barbados, but some people will sell their house and not change out what was in it before. I have gone to houses for sale and I have seen, and I'm walking, I'm like, why do we have, we went into one where we saw the cloak, like a wizard's cloak in the closet. And as I'm taking pictures of the closet, I'm like, what is going on here? I've been into a house where I've seen the witchcraft signs and the bones and the thing in a corner, and I'm like, okay, so this is, I'm supposed to take pictures with the altar. You understand? These are real situations. There are houses. There is a type of wood. It's a Guyanese type of wood that some persons have built with, not realizing it has a smell. No matter how much they clean with Clorox. I went into one recently, cute house, but I couldn't see the house because I'm like, the smell of the wood. And then, let's be honest, it's like a hamster living in his own muck. When you have a stinking house, you don't know it smells bad. You don't know it smells bad, right? But the reality is these are issues out there. I saw something similar once over a decade ago when I went in. Cute house, 2-story house, fancy, and they customize it so that you get out of the bed into the jacuzzi. The jacuzzi was at the end of the bed. If you have anything like that, neutralize it. Get rid of the jacuzzi because that may have suited you, but isn't going to suit anybody else. This is a story that I only remembered when I saw the image because I have blocked it out of my head. Ellerton, 9 years ago. Ellerton, wooden house. I am talking. The client is here, the buyer. And as they're talking on the rafters, just here, there are 2 rats walking past them. And I see the rats walking, and I said, well, let's look over here at this. And I could feel the salt leave from my body. And the 2 rats walk from here to there. Oh my God, stuff like that I actually walk away from. People will be surprised how many things I walk away from. If I can't see myself living in the house, I will tell the owner I'm not the best agent to push it. I don't need money that bad, right? Because obviously I had an infestation issue. Oh my gosh, real stories. Sorry, I have flashbacks because certain things give me, I have been through these things. I have been to a house already, oh my gosh, 2-story house, and I was so excited because it was a very hard sell. And this man said, Sharita, I have cash, I want it. I was like, yes. I said, are you sure though? Have you seen it? He's like, look, I've seen your pictures, I've seen your video, I know the location, it's a done deal for me, let's walk through. And as we're walking down to the basement, we walk outside and we have to open the door. I keep on saying, I'm hearing water. I'm hearing water. Dear God, where's that water coming from? And as I open the door, whoosh! What happened? There was a leak on the upper level. Yeah, there was a leak on the upper level, which then dripped through some hole on this level. This is a true story. Which then rotted out the cupboards on the below level. The cupboard dropped down, hit the faucet, and the faucet was running for 1 month. And you want to hear the joy of this? This is a house which I manage. How do I explain to the owner that you now have a $1,900 water bill from a leak that came in through a leak, and the cover dropped and hit the faucet and the water has been running for a month? And then the horror of getting the water was this high. Yeah, trauma, but real stories. Looking familiar? Looking a little bit familiar? We're in Barbados, folks. I know it's hot, but once again, going back to ventilation, you gotta do everything possible. There's some houses that I can only show in the morning and late in the evening. And even those houses, sometimes I don't take them because I won't feel good about knowing that I'm showing it to you at the best time of day. But dear God, if you turn out here at midday, it's over for you, right? Gemswick, every house has a story. Gemswick, I set up that viewing for 10:30. Young couple, they were enthusiastic. Small 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. I got there early, opened the windows. Opening the windows made no difference. And we were walking around and I'm trying to show him this room and that room. And my poor little armpits are struggling. He's there wiping his head. She took out a handkerchief. So these are the issues that come up when you're selling. Cracks. If ever there's a crack in your house, you have to investigate what that is. Is it structural? Is it just natural shifting? Always pay attention when you see cracks around windows and around doors. Investigate them, especially if you can slip a 10-cent piece into them. What's going on there? You need to find out if the ground is shifting or some movement is going on, or you need to underpin the house or whatever. These are the types of things you have to make right before selling it. Sadly, these are things you can't change, but usually on purpose, I tell buyers when they like a house and I know the area is sketchy, I always tell them, drive by when it's raining, drive by at night. Is the domino table going to be set up in front of your house? Right? So when you are selling, all these things may arise and your job is somehow to neutralize all of this. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfection. It doesn't have to be Fort George Heights or Sandy Lane, but you got to try to neutralize. All right, so we wind in now. How to get top dollar? Show me the money. So even before I bring a buyer to a property, I am not wasting my time showing them your property unless I think they have money. So what do I do? How do I not offend them in terms of asking about money? Well, I put the blame on y'all. Well, the seller's a little bit particular, so tell me something. Are you a prospective cash purchaser? You always ask the cash question first. You're prospective, so you don't offend anyone. Are you a prospective cash purchaser, or are you going to require finance? Oh, I'm cash. I'm cash. Right? Good. So we've got the ego out of the way. The other ones might say, yeah, I'm going to require financing. And then I ask the next question. Okay. So did you check with your financial institution already to see how much you qualify for? Not yet. Once I see the house, I can do that. So. Okay. Well, the seller is a little particular. She prefers that, qualified individuals come to the property. So go and check out what your financial status is and call me back, okay? Never hear from those ones again. But then there are those ones who can come out and say, I am pre-qualified for 500,000, or yeah, I'm pre-qualified and it covers that. Good. Let's set up a viewing. Right? So remember, you just need one buyer. And I'm trying to cut out the time wasters. So that's how I deal with the buyers. But how do I deal with you, the sellers? Family feud. Oh, for the love of God. It is my duty to quickly discern who is the decision maker in each relationship, in each seller environment. What I've noticed is that from the time I hear someone is giving me a house to sell and they're a representative and the owner lives overseas, I usually say, here we go. Sadly, all my returning nationals, all my expat buddies, they know the market better than me, apparently. Right? They know how it's done in England. They know how it's done in North America. And whatever price I suggest is always too low. So whenever there are external interests involved, it is very challenging to sell the property correctly because they always want to impress their knowledge on the rest of the family. Okay? Then you have situations where there are estate issues. John doesn't want to sell, Patsy and Sue Ann want to sell, he wants to rent. What do we do? What do we do? I have to try to become friends with everybody. The divorced couples, I have to be friends with the husband and the wife. Otherwise, it isn't going to work. Otherwise, he thinks that I'm working for her and trying to unfair him and vice versa. So even if the woman is who calls me, I have to ask her, what's John's name and number? Let me call him. And when I speak to John, I have to make him feel like if he's the most important thing on earth. This deal cannot go through without you, John. I'm trying to work with Patsy over here, but you know I'm going to deal with you. And then I have to be Patsy's friend. Girl, I got you. Ooh, I can see you're a little stubborn and ain't right, but we can work together through this. And I have to be there between them. It is important to get the money aspect as in terms of what are you willing to accept and so forth sorted before we even put that property on the market. It minimizes issues. Thereafter. I spy with my little eye. Pricing a house is not difficult. Let's look around and see how it's been done before. What have similar properties been priced at before? So I never tell people what the price of a property is. Sorry, I never tell people the price that we are selling the house at. I never do that. I present you with evidence. Okay, so I heard that the house down the street from you sold at such and such. It has one more bathroom than yours, but it's pretty similar. I heard that and I'll come back to you with a range. So I realistically, based on market conditions and where we're at now and the size of the house, I think it should be between $450,000 and $500,000. And I step back and I let them know, obviously, if you sell it at the lower price, it will move faster. If you sell it at the higher price, there's a probability that we could be here till next year at the same time. And they set the price. And I let them know pleasantly, if my phone doesn't ring in the first 3 months, it means the price is too high. We have to adjust it. But it allows the sellers to feel empowered that they were not coerced by a third party. They had some say in it. The price is right. I am not about speculation. I am about making sure that we price it accurately. So going back to what I just told you, it makes no sense. You know your house is about $300,000 on your land tax bill, and you say, man, let me go for $600,000. Why? It's not going to work. No one is going to pay that price. Stop it. It is best to price it accurately from the get-go. All right? And when you price it accurately, all of a sudden you will find that we getting the emails, we getting calls, people are interested. So you don't ever want your house to be the house. No, because everyone will know you. Every buyer will know your house has been on the market for 2 years. The house that started off at $900,000, I think they're down to $700,000 now. And they talk about you and they laugh at you. And no one is going to give you any money. Why? Because just like cute dresses in a department store, you have now become stale on the market. No one wants it. And what it forces you now to do to get rid of it is slash it. If you had priced it accurately from the beginning, you could have got interest from the beginning and got it sold. But no, you wanted to be a McGuffey and go for all, and now you're here stuck with the property. Deal or no deal. So when I bring an offer to the table, some offers are highly offensive. And I let you know that from the beginning. Some offers will offend you. Okay? This is business. People are going to try. This is an environment in which I know of cash buyers who have made offers of half and less than half, and people have taken it because they were desperate or they were sick or they just needed live cash, right? And because of that, those types of buyers are going to try. So don't be offended if your house costs $600,000. I am duty bound to bring to you whatever offer comes to me. Now, obviously, if I see an offer is offensive, I tell them, buddy, no, you got to come back with something higher, right? But if they tell me, Sharita, that is the higher, I am not submitting anything else. Unfortunately, I have to limp like a loopy dog and deliver that to the seller. What do? I prep them first. I call them, hey, I got an offer for you, but it's low. Actually, I'm offended to even bring it to you. So what we're going to do, when I send you this offer, I just want you to ignore what you see, but all I want you to do is give me what you want. Give me a counter offer, right? Very often you butt upon the sellers with all the egos in the world. I'm not giving you that. No, that is ridiculous. Unless they're willing to, be serious, I'm not interested. My job is to get a counter offer. And once I have that and they come up, let's play the dance with them. I don't care how hurt you are. My job is to get the most money for you. Let's engage with who's at the table. So always go to try to make a deal. All right, we're going to run through this real quick. The sale process. So you're looking to sell your property, you list the property. So that means I come out and I take pictures. I try to be as accurate as possible. We create a description of what we see. I am not the glamorizing sort of description person. So if there are holes in your walls and things dropping out, I will actually say it in the description, but I have my ways of saying it and it still sounds real nice. But the beauty of that is that when people now come to see the property, they're not surprised. I didn't know that they had no windows in the whole house. No. If you read line 3, you'll see that I told you that, right? So we list the property, we promote it, blast it to high heaven. We put it out there because your property doesn't exist if it is not seen. How do you get it seen? So luckily for me, over the years, I've built up a following of about 20,000 people on all social media platforms. They're my marketing agents. Luckily, we are a nosy society. We like to talk. So when I put up this beautiful house right here, somebody tags June. They say, what are you looking for? It's perfect. Yeah, look, guys, see the video, check out the video. And behind the scenes, I can watch them passing it on. I can watch them sharing it. I can watch them. So they do the work for me, right? And videos are what get properties sold. Because people don't have to trust your bad pictures. They can walk through the property and get a true sense of what it is. We got a buyer. Thank you, Jesus. You only need one. You only need one. So I'm not showing up at your house with 20 or 40 people, just one. From there, offer and acceptance. So remember we talked about let's get a deal on the table. So you agree that you're tired of paying all these different bills. Sharita, just tell them we'll take $535,000. And they agree, and we get them to do the offer form, and you sign as accepting. As a seller, you need to know that the buyer then has to get a valuation of your property if they are going the financing route. If they are cash people, they skip all the financial stuff and go straight to the legal process. Okay? That valuation pretty much is on behalf of the bank. The bank doesn't want to give them any more money than that house is valued at. Because they need to know that when they need to snatch back that house from you for any reason, that they haven't given you excess and then can't get it sold. So we wait for this loan approval. Sadly, in recent times, for every time I hear that any buyer is linked to the credit union, I say a prayer. I say a prayer. Because the credit unions have been taking extremely long to determine if you're approved or not. Now, I'm not encouraging you in any criminal activity, but you need to stalk your union rep. Okay? You have to call them every week. You have to show up. Hey, Michelle, I'm here again. I know I talked to you last week, but I'm here just checking to see if there's any... Till they get sick of you and put you to the top of the filing tray. That's literally how it is. Because there are thousands at any given point vying for loans. Select your attorney. So once your loan is approved, select an attorney. Remember, an attorney represents you. So the seller has their attorney, and you, the buyer, you have your attorney, and the bank, they have their attorney. Some people opt to use the bank's attorney if they're buying just for ease, but remember, the attorney for the bank is representing the bank's interests. I always remind people of that. Sometimes it doesn't hurt you to spend a little couple extra $100 or whatever to make sure your attorney is looking out for you. I introduce them with a memo of sale, just saying, dear Mr. John, so there's a happy marriage, and then we go on to the legal process. All right, so, sorry. Yeah, so the legal process begins, which is going to be Ondine giving you a sense of that. So we close it all up with this. Seller soul satisfaction. I have been in situations where I like to sleep good at night. So there have been times when sellers have wanted to sell property and I could see they're not ready. I remember a couple that I went to in Regency Park, they wanted to sell the property, which would have been about $800,000 to two-story house. And as we were talking, I could sense that that wife was not ready to let go. It would have made no sense me putting it on the market, getting a buyer, and then she's like, "Irks." And I simply asked her, "So if I were to have a buyer show up tomorrow with all the money that you want, are you ready to walk away?" And the woman started to bawl. I was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "No, you're not ready to sell." I said, hold on to this and just let it run its course. I said, you don't ever want seller's remorse. On the contrary, and in wrapping it up, I'll tell you this quickly. I've been in this for a very long time. I have seen people hold on to property because it's their very identity, and then I've seen them die and the property is still there. I have had a client who lived in a 5-bedroom, monstrous house by himself. I remember the price of the house started at 1.4, came down to 1.2, 1.1, 900,000. It finally sold. Because it started off, when he called me in, it was already overpriced. It finally sold and it took a couple years. And I remember that when he sold it, he then said, "Sharita, I want to move into I need to rent a house now." This is one man, 2 dogs. So I said, "Good. I have some houses for you." And I remember I showed him 1 or 2 houses. There were 3-bedroom houses. He said, "Sharita, these are too small." I said, "Oh, somebody else is moving in with you soon?" "No, just me." So we got him the 4-bedroom house. And he moved in February, and by April, he was dead. Right? These are real life things. So in terms of selling, I always tell people it is an asset. You have to learn to distance yourself from the asset. Even if you have sentimental reasons and so forth, you have to look out for your health and livelihood first before just hanging on to this asset. I know people, I know one person whose land I have for sale, multi-million-dollar land, their land tax bill was, last when we spoke, $200,000 in arrears, $24,000 a year. And the father can't handle it and made the mistake of saying, "Love," to his daughter, "I want you to have this land." So this young girl is saddled with trying to find 24 grand every year for her gift. Right? And they're trying to sell it, but still to honor daddy, the price is sky high. So sometimes you have to make decisions when it comes to selling. And am I holding out for this ultimate fair price, or do I want to cruise and not pay land tax bills anymore? Do I want to eat out? I've never felt that in the last 5 years. So you have to think out what works for you. So at the end of the day, whenever you sell, you don't want any seller's remorse and you want fulfillment.